Hey guys, this is April at Georgia Mom Plans. I have another reading video for you today, and today is going to be my May reading wrap up. I had a really great month of reading in May, and I'm so excited to tell you about everything that I read. So let's crack open my reading journal here. So starting with our 26 and 2026, I did read 3 books on this list. So I read The Nightingale, Nevernight, and To Cage a Wild Bird. So really excited that I knocked out 3 books on this list. I am still going to try and complete all of these. I think I will probably get about 90%. I do think there's a good possibility that I am not going to finish all of these 26 books, just because there's been so many other things that I've wanted to read. But for May, I had put The Nightingale, Riftborn, and Wild Reverence on my list. So I have pushed off Riftborn until June, and then rescheduled Wild Reverence for later in the year. So looking at my June list, I do have Babel, The God of the Woods, The Wolf King, and Riftborn on my list for June of my 26 and 2026. Both Riftborn and The Wolf King are going to be audiobooks. I do already own Riftborn on Audible, so I need to start it soon. The Wolf King, I do have a hold placed on Libby. It has not yet come through, so honestly, I'll listen to that one when it comes through. It may not be June, but I do have The God of the Woods on my physical read TBR for June, which you will see at the end of this video. I do think we're going to be pushing Babel, and we'll just see what happens. So I have made some progress on my 26 and 2026, and then looking at my book of the month, I did pick up Seek the Traitor's Son by Veronica Roth as my May book of the month. This is my physical TBR. Again, I have read a few from my physical TBR. The Nightingale, Rebel Witch, and To Cage a Wild Bird were all on my physical TBR that I read this month. And then looking at book club, I did finish The Library of Lost Dollhouses, which I've already had my book club meeting with my mom book club. And then we have picked our next book club, which is Lives of the Wives, which is a nonfiction that I picked up the audiobook for, so that will be on my list for June as well. And then no updates here for Becca's book club. Looking to the DNF graveyard. I had a DNF. Technically, it was the beginning of June, but since I already filled it in here, I will let you know. I did DNF Love Letter to Whiskey. I got about 50% in, and it was just absolutely too toxic for me. I could not stand their relationship, and if I wasn't enjoying it, what was the point of continuing to listen to it? So my first DNF of the year. I'm not a big DNFer, but I just could not continue with that one. So moving on to our series tracker. I completed a series, the Rebel Witch series, which, what is the actual name of it? The Crimson Moth series. I did finish Heartless Hunter in April and Rebel Witch in May, so completed a series there. And still chugging through, I am actually reading The Gate of the Feral Gods, which is book 4 in the Dungeon Call series. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that one in as well. Making progress. I do think quite a few of these series are going to be pushed, but I do have Red Rising that I will be reading in July. I'm so excited. And The Ashes of the Star-Crossed King. I have that audiobook on Libby on hold, so I will be listening to that one soon. So making some progress in the series. Now looking at my yearly book tracker, I did read 7 books in May, so I've already filled in 4 books that I have read or am reading right now in June. So I read from number 28 to 34 in May. It was such a good reading month, and I made some progress in my alphabet reading challenge over here. So looking at what I read in May, I've already filled in some that I've read in June, but looking at what I read in May, I did fill in L for Library of the Lost Dollhouses, N for Nevernight, and R for Rebel Witch. So filled in 3 letters there. I'm getting really close on my letters. I do think U and Z might be struggles, or excuse me, U and X may be struggles. I do have a book in mind for Z. Spoiler alert, is Zodiac Academy. We shall see if I'm able to fit that one in this year, but U and X, I have a feeling will not happen. I do have books lined up for J, O, P, and V. So we will see. But through the end of May, I've read 34 books, looking really good on my yearly goal of 60. So, yeah, let's look at the genre. So for what I read in May, I have Storygraph pulled up here so we can go through the genres. So the first book that I finished in May was my number 28, which is To Cage a Wild Bird, which is romantasy. I've got all my genre trackers back here. So number 28 was romantasy. Number 29 was Nevernight, which was fantasy. 30, Library of Lost Dollhouses, was historical fiction. 31, Rebel Witch, was romantasy. 32 was Guild Romantasy, a new series that I started. Number 33 was The Nightingale, which is historical fiction. And the last book of the month was Savor It, which is romance, which I hadn't read a romance in the last 2 months. So I'm glad to finish out that month with a romance. Now moving into my monthly stats. So like I said, I did read 7 books. I'm glad I was back up to 7 since I had dropped down to 6 in April. So 7 books. And then I also totaled up my pages with what I read audio. So for pages read, I read a total of 2,863. So my second highest reading month of the year. January is still my highest with 3,000. I'm very happy with that total. I had gone down March and April, so really happy that I got my total back up in May, and hopefully I will keep it up in June. I have just been pretty much spending as much free time as I can reading, even though we still have a ton going on. So really good month for May. So now let's flip to my spring reading bingo. Officially, I am filming this on June 18th, so spring's about to be over. It's about to be the first day of summer, so I think I have filled in everything that I can on here. I did have one bingo. I was hoping to get multiples, but a lot of these were hard. But I feel like I did pretty good. So let's move to our May spread. So I have pulled out quite a few things to use here. So for this first page here, I have my May reading journal headers from Jessica Hartz. Love these colors. And then I also pulled her B5 monthly reading stats to use, and then her spring book review for the next page. So I also have some deco pulled because, you know, I have to put some decorations in here. So I pulled the Blooms and Books collection from Pen, Paper, and Plans. Thought these colors would be perfect. I also pulled her upper and lowercase circle letters from Pen, Paper, and Plans. And then I have these book review. I think I'll probably just use, well, these have stars. I really don't think I need this month. I will hold on to that. I also have these Philly frames from Pen, Paper, and Plans, and then some leftover deco from Blissful Jade Designs, and then a few other deco bits. So I have my Hello May dashboard from Blissful Jade Designs, this little piece of deco from Saucy Stickers, and some ginkgo leaves from According to Allie. So just going to pull in whatever I feel like I need, starting here on this first page on the left side of the page. I like to just do deco, do the name of the month. Last month I had my spring bingo there, but this month I think what we will do is, I think I'm going to do this one, this Hello May at the top, and then I'll use the rest of those. So, but I also want to do some deco, or maybe I'll do this pretty frame. That'll be nice. Let's do that. I love pulling in all the color. Let's see, let's do this here. Hello May. and put that right there in the frame. That is pretty. And then let's do some deco. I want to use this house. I'm thinking down here at the bottom. So used up 2 sticker sheets already. I also would love to pull in these 2 pieces of deco. Over here is where my stats are going to go, so let's put those. I will save those scripts and put them in my leftovers. So let's do that deco, and then I want to definitely use some of these. So pretty. Let's do this nice big one up here at the top. We actually did get a ton of rain in May, so that is perfect. And then I think I'm going to, let's just pull in this 2026 because we have it. And then I'm going to use, let's do reading goals. It's not one that I use a ton, so I can just use it as some deco. There we go. That is pretty. And then anything else we want over here. I might pull in one of these ginkgo leaves just because I love a pretty ginkgo leaf, and I have them tattooed on me just to fill in the space here at the bottom. Let's see, is there anything else I want to put here? I think I want to save all 3 of these to go with the book reviews. This over here. Book reviews I'm going to put over there. You know what I might do? No, I'm going to save that. Book reviews is going to go over there. Favorite quotes will go here. Let's do May reads. I have them. I might as well use them. That's going to go here, and then we're going to do the monthly reading stats. Large sticker from Jessica Hartz here. And then my favorite quotes for my book of the month, I will put right down here. And I may just this time write the quote down here, not pull in any boxes. So I think that is good. And then let's maybe pull in another ginkgo leaf on this side. Like this maybe. Yes, that is pretty. What do I want here? Something big in the middle. I might pull some boxes and put here, and kind of put stats that I don't normally. Like I might put how many, since I read so many for my 2026. And then, yeah, I'm going to put some boxes there. So that is looking good there. So let's pull in my monthly reading stats. All right. So the first section here is pages read. So for here, I read 2,863. Like I said, a really good month. Number of books read is 7. And then genres read. I had quite the variety of genres, but let's do the top 3. So first was romance, which I only read one like true romance book, but I had quite a few romanticies, so that makes sense that romance is up there. Romance, fantasy, and historical, which makes sense because I did read 2 historic fiction. All right, so there are genres for longest and shortest. Let's see. All right, the longest is going to be 590 pages, which was The Nightingale. And then for the shortest, let's see. The shortest was Savor It, which is 323 pages. Which is pretty long for the shortest. I loved that book. Ate it up. So I'm looking back. In April, my shortest was 206. Yeah, that's pretty long for a short one. And then I don't think I did. Oh yeah. Well, last month I did a novella, so my shortest was 107. So this was a really good month. So highest rating, 5-star. Did I write the name of the book or just the highest rating? Yeah, highest rating. This month, my average rating was so good. So I had 5-star was my highest rated. Does this one not have my average rating? I don't think it does. So in the past, did I add it? Oh, I just went right by it. Ignore me. So my average rating for the month was, I want to say it was like a 4.5. 4.5 was my average rating. I knew it was a good month. So I did not have anything below a 4-star this month, which is awesome. Average rating was 4.5. Sources, physical 3, ebook 0, audiobook 4. There we go. Books left on TBR. So books that I did not get to that I intended to in May. I think just one. I had planned on reading a Dungeon Crawler Carl, but it got pushed to June. So we'll just do that. And then reading progress, I think, yes. I read 28. That's what I said was my total, right, for this, through the end of May. Where's my tracker? Here. No, so I had read 34 of 60 through the end of May. 34 of 60. Making good progress on my goals. So before halfway through the year, I'm already over halfway. Look how pretty that looks. I am loving this. So I'm going to put some boxes there. Now let's move on to our actual books. I am so excited to go through all of these. So first, I think I want to put down, let's see, let's do book reviews first. And I might pull another, let's do another Ginkgo. I have them, so let's use them. All is well there. Okay, so I'm gonna do this Ginkgo in the corner and then book reviews here. Pretty. And I've got 7, so I think I'll do 3 and 4, but you know I love putting stickers in the corners. So let's go ahead and do this here. And then I want to use all the colors. So let's do 1, 2, I'm gonna mix up these pinks. 2 and 3 here. And then on this side, I know I want to use, let's do this one here. Oh, hold on. There we go. And then I'd love to use this one as well up here at the top. So we can do 1, 2, 3, and 4 for my 7 books. I love that. So it leaves me with 1 book review sticker left. And then I also have this. So I want to pull in just some of this deco just because I think it's pretty. And we will fill in some of the space here. I love these little stars and little accents, just so pretty. Let's do some little flowers around here. I do like to leave some space because I do add some details to these, but for the most part I can just sprinkle this in all around. All right, so that's so pretty. All right, so I am going to go through and fill all of this in, and I will be right back. All right, so I have filled in all of the details for the books that I read in the month of May, and I'm so excited to go through these with you. So the first one that I finished in May was To Cage a Wild Bird. I read this one from April 25th through May 3rd, and it was a 4.5-star read. I love this. Dystopian is one of my favorites. I was very, very much into the Hunger Games and oh goodness, Divergent. Those were some of my absolute favorite series. I don't want to say growing up because I was already in my 20s when those came out, but I loved them. So this definitely gave me that dystopian feeling that I love. And then it was also a romantasy, so it was really good. So this one was 4.5 stars, and I did read this one as a physical read. And I have followed Brooke for a very long time, so it was really cool to read something by someone that I've been following for a long time. So the second book that I finished was Nevernight. I read this one as an audiobook. This is by Jay Kristoff. This is one that was on my 26 and 2026 because one of my favorite booktubers, Becca, this is one of her favorites, and she loves Jay Kristoff. It's a fantasy book. It was not my favorite, but I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. I do think I will continue in the series. I want to say it's a trilogy, but it's not one that's like high up on my list. It took me a little while to get into it, and maybe because I was listening to it on audio, but I enjoyed it. It's just not one of my new favorites. So it was a 4-star read. Still very good. The Library of Lost Dollhouses. I also listened to this one on audio. This was my book of my book club pick for the month of May. Is a non-historical fiction, and I really enjoyed it. I gave this 4.5 stars. It did have some kind of mystery elements to it that I really enjoyed. I love a good historical fiction, and this one just made me happy. So this was 4.5 stars. All right, so after The Library of Lost Dollhouses, next I read Rebel Witch, and Rebel Witch I did read as a physical book, and that completed the Crimson Moth duology. I truly enjoyed it. It was really fun. I feel like it's one that I won't think about a ton again, but I did enjoy it. They were both really great books, and I think so. Heartless Hunter I gave 4 stars, and Rebel Witch I gave 4.5. I really enjoyed the ending of Rebel Witch. It got me. I shed a few tears. I do wish there was more with the ending. I want more of their story, but I really enjoyed it. So 4.5 stars for Rebel Witch. And then next I read Guild, which this format was audio, and I have to decide how I'm going to continue, because I was told that this series is on Kindle Unlimited, so I may pick it up physically to continue the series, but I do have the second book in the Plated Prisoner series audiobook on hold. I did give Guild 4 stars. It took me a little bit to get into it, but once it picked up, I was all in. I truly enjoyed it and excited to see where this series goes, because I've heard people love it. So that was 4 stars for Guild. And then for The Nightingale, I read this one as a physical book. This was my first Kristen Hanna. Oh, I just spelled that wrong. This was my first Kristen Hanna, which I've had her books on my TBR for years and years and years, and I was honestly intimidated to pick them up because I've heard they are so heartbreaking. For Matt, here we go. All right, so this was a physical read, and this was a 5-star read. I loved it so much. It was long, and it was intense, and it, I don't know, had me crying every other chapter. Whew, it was a lot, but I loved the sisters. I loved their story. The ending got me. Truly, it got me. I was shocked. 5-star read. And it is no surprise that The Nightingale is my book of the month. I do have my book of the month awards from Scribble Prints Co. And I loved it. It was so good. I want to read it again in the future, even though it's heartbreaking. I feel like I may pick up on things that I missed my first read through. So this one I read from May 18th through May 29th. It took me about 11 days, 590 pages. Honestly, for that big of a book, I flew through it. And then my last book of the month was Savor It, which, let's see if I can write format. There we go. Got it the first time this time. This was an audiobook by Tara DeWitt, and I loved it. I have read Tara DeWitt in the past and really enjoyed her writing, and this story was just so good. This is another 5-star. It was between The Nightingale and Savor It for my book of the month, and while Savor It was a 5-star romance, it's nothing compared to The Nightingale. The Nightingale was just so good, but I am very happy that I had 2 5-star reads. So let's see, I had 3 4.5s, 2 4, and 2 5. So what a reading month. So good. So I am going to put a quote here from The Nightingale, and then I'll put a few other stats here for my reading month. It was just such a good month. So happy with everything. I could probably put a little more deco here, but I love how it looks, and this was a good month. So I did pull some books to show you. So my physical reads for May, like I said, I had 2 Cage a Wild Bird, Rebel Witch, and The Nightingale. So good. 2 hardbacks, 1 paperback, and just books that I'm really happy that I read. So I had a 4, a 4.5, and a 5 in that order over the month, which was pretty awesome. Now let's look ahead to June. So for my physical reads for June, I have 3 physical reads. A little spoiler, it is June, 18th while I am filming this, and I have already finished Yesteryear. So my physical reads for June are Yesteryear by Carol Claire Burke, The Gate of the Feral Gods by Matt Dinniman, which is book 4 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, and then The God of the Woods. So The Gate of the Feral Gods, as of right now, I'm about 100 pages in. I really have to do some work. I want to finish this one soon because I leave for the beach on June 27th, and this is the book I want to read while I am there. The God of the Woods have been on my list for a few years, and I've heard it's an amazing summer read, so I'm excited to read this while I'm at the beach. I don't know that I will finish it in June. I may still count it for June if I finish it while I'm at the beach. I do believe this is the only physical book I'm going to bring with me. I'll probably also bring my Kindle and the book that I have on my Kindle to potentially read is not on my 26 and 2026, but it is on my series list. And the first book in the series is escaping me, so I'm going to flip here. Flawless in the Chestnut Springs series. I have Flawless as an ebook, so I may pick that up as well if I need a Kindle read, but I will have this physical read for The God of the Woods. And then audiobooks that I have lined up in June. Some more spoilers. I am currently listening to Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, so I will be finishing that one in June. And then also The Lives of Wives, which is a nonfiction that I am reading for my book club. So that right there is 3, 4, 5 books that are on my TBR for June. We'll see how many that I get through. Gate of the Feral Gods is big. God of the Woods is big. So we'll see how my June stacks up to my May. My May was my second best reading month of the year. So excited to see how June goes. And yeah, loving updating my reading journal. Excited to tell y'all all about these in a few weeks. I will have all of the sticker shops linked below for what I used in my reading journal setup. We'll also have my book of the month referral if you would like that, linked below. And if you read any of these same books, please comment below. Let me know if you have any book suggestions based on what I read and how I rated them. I'd love to hear those as well. If you are not already following me over on Instagram, I'm at Georgia Mom Plans. You can see pictures of my planners and my reading journal over there. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. I love uploading reading and planning related content for you every single month. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate you watching. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.